Hey everyone, now I wasn't sure if I was going to do this video or not, but I thought long and hard about it, and because this has been such a big part of my life since about February of this year, and it's kind of a big deal for my career as well, I wanted to share this with you and kind of let you know what's been happening, and we'll treat it as a bit of a story time, because I'm often asked to do story time videos, so let's say this is my first one. So this is a very weird thing for me to be talking about, because on the one hand it's very positive and very fantastic opportunity, but at the same time there's quite an emotional story attached to it. So this is Yours in Sisterhood by Eileen McCabe, and we'll talk more about the novel itself in a moment. But I was approached beginning of this year and asked if I would like to edit up the manuscript and then publish it on behalf of Eileen. And when I read the synopsis I said yes straight away, because it's got a great feminist angle and it's all about how the past shapes the present day with our parallel timelines, and that was all fantastic. And the journey itself has been wonderful, but the reason this came about was because early 2015 Eileen McCabe actually passed away. She was a journalist with a fantastic career. If you Google her name you'll find out all sorts about her career history, and also a book that she'd previously written called We Don't Do God, which was quite heavily political. Very interesting stuff. And her husband wanted something done with this manuscript because she'd written Yours in Sisterhood. It was pretty much at a finished state, but there were one or two things that needed tweaked, shifted around, edited up, neated and tidied, and that's where I came in. So for several months I was working on this manuscript, which for me was the first time I'd ever thoroughly edited somebody else's novel. You know, I've done my own novels, which is kind of a different journey, but working with somebody else's, you kind of trying to work out what they wanted to say, or if perhaps you're perceiving things the way they meant them to be done. The hardest thing for me with that was if I came to a brick wall and thought, do I want to keep this in or not? Eileen wasn't there for me to ask, for me to have this discussion with her. So it's kind of a peculiar thing, editing a posthumous novel for somebody. But eventually we got there. The manuscript I was happy with it, her husband was happy with it, and then the cover design came in, and this was probably the hardest part, because again you're dealing with different people's ideas, not just one person's like I do with my own work. But I love it. And on the front we have here, this is Princess Dorothea Lieven, and this is who it's all about. She was a Russian princess in the 19th century, and she comes over to England with her husband, and it's all about how she fits in with fashion and what power she has and what power she doesn't have. She has quite a lot of power over certain powerful men. It is based heavily on fact, but we have our present day politician, and she is fictional. It's Marcia Winter there, and she writes letters to Dorothea, and we can have quite strong parallel timelines between both women's careers and how the political figures and the men in their lives perceive them, and how that then impacts on their own emotions and their own positions in life. So very fascinating, and if you've read my own work you'll probably be able to tell why I kind of instantly jumped at editing this. So for me, editing and then publishing Yours in Sisterhood was a wonderful journey, obviously with a kind of bitter reason behind it, but it's kind of the start of what I'd kind of like to do with the rest of my life perhaps, because I have something coming up in January that's going to last 2 years, which I'll talk about more later. But that kind of encompasses all of this, which is very, very exciting. I know that Eileen McCabe would love it if you could go and check this novel out. You will find it on Amazon, both Amazon UK and international, and pretty much every other Amazon as well. There will be an article written about this in a local newspaper at some point, so if that article's online I'll post that below in case you want to find out more about the background behind this. But if you have any questions, do feel free to ask. But I just wanted to share this with you because it's been quite an emotional journey for me, but a wonderful journey. But as I said, there's kind of a strong reason behind it. And all I can hope is that Eileen is happy with the finished product, and that she's happy with what I've done with it, because obviously that's a big deal for me, is making sure that what I've done with this is something that she would have liked and been satisfied with. And I hope that's the case. If you do read it, feel free to let me know what you think of it and give it a rate on Goodreads and on Amazon. It's great to be able to say that I think this is a wonderful novel, because I didn't write it, so that doesn't make me big-headed, and I do think that you should read it, because I do think it's fantastic, and I thoroughly enjoyed working on it. If you have any questions or anything, let me know, and I will speak to you all soon. Bye!